Okay, here we are once again at the Slacks Creek Kankanya ground, an area we cleared ourselves, members, over several weekends and other days. They're clearing the area to have their Kankanya rally, which was initially a thank you rally inviting the Northern Rivers, the Lismore Club, to come up to Brisbane, and then other clubs were invited. And so this was the start, 1966. There's a bit of Barry Neville's humour on those signs there. There was the improvised toilet block, you can see behind there. Now here we are, here's the line-up. There's Bernie Keating, looking at him through his SPA. I think this is Les Russell, that car there. I think that's John Fox from the Vintage Car Club of Queensland. Over there's Ray Allen's Rio. Now we moved on to, I think this is a Graham. There's something to be destroyed. Yeah, back to the Rio, being covered up. It was a bit rainy that first day, and the ground was a bit damp. That's the two Merrick brothers at the background there. Is Barry Neville, the rally organiser, to the point. That's John Canty moving along over there. He had a very nice standard, vintage standard. I don't know who that gentleman is, but he's entranced by someone's diff. Now I think this is, under the brolly is P.G. Bentley from the VCCQ. Here's an unrestored bulldoze waiting to take the road. Oh, there we go. It was owned by Alf. I've forgotten some of these. That's the standard, John Canty's standard. Very attractive little car. Had a bit of trouble getting to Lismore one year, and I'm afraid arrived there on the end of a tow rope. On the left there is Ted Godfrey and Charlie Purdue from the Lismore Club. And I think that could have been Nick Bookman's back. Here, we're moving on now. It's a bit too quick to keep up with. I think Barry was talking to one of the Curly brothers there. Who have we got here? There's Hank Eustace on the right. And is this the... well, what the hell was that? Okay, anyway, here we go. Cadillac LaSalle, was it? Okay. I think some of these signs are some of Barry's witticisms. That's the Bentley under the Rolls Royce. Both come from the VCCQ. The Bentley belonged to Dick Plant, if I remember rightly. Now I think we're having a Gymkhana event here now. There's Shirley MacLaine. This, I think, is the following morning. This would be the Sunday morning. The night before was in the nearby Springlands barn. There was a dinner and a dance, a very festive evening. And now the Sunday morning, back down on the ground again for a Gymkhana event. There's Barry's rally gear. Here we are. It looks like John Canty getting a bit of a help. There are a couple of other VCCQ cars came this morning, if I remember rightly. We'll see later. There was a bit of water around this year. You can see over the bank there, the pool, that was named Lake Gretchen after the Peppers dachshund. But the following year, I think it had dried up. But we often referred to Lake Gretchen. There's Joe Wilson in the Barrow from the VCCQ. Now here's Alf doing his bit in his A model. Alf was only the second owner of that car. He got it from the original owner. That's one of our members. That's a 1935 Packard. I can't remember that chap's name, but this one I'm afraid. But you can see some vigorous driving in the Gymkhana. All these events organised by Barry. That's a Wolseley Hornet, belonged to Howard Kenwood of the VCCQ. Very sporty car. There he goes again. And now we've got a Rolls Royce here, another VCCQ car. And now Jeff Shapcott's utility. Here's Ray and Peggy Allen in their Rio. And there's Leah at Lake Gretchen. And there's Gretchen in the lake named after her. It did rain, was wet a couple of years later, but it was a bit damp this day. I don't know whose Dodge that was, but I think it survived. Now this is the potato dropping competition. There's my Rover going around. And here's, I think it's George G driving Dennis Martin's Buick, if I can work that out right. Oops, he nearly finished in Lake Gretchen. Their names elude me, I'm afraid. I think it's Dick Plant owned that Rolls Royce. Now this is the hill climb. Here comes Barry, rally organised Barry in Alice, the famous Alice, a very well travelled Austin 7. And this is the only road in and out of the ground, so it wasn't compulsory, but it was necessary to get out to take part in the hill climb. So here's Bernie's SPA climbing up. It was quite a spirited event, and here's Ray and Peggy doing their best and making it in the Rio. There's no other way out. Here comes John Canty's Standard. I don't know who won the hill climb that day. It was carefully timed. I think Barry's up there with his stopwatch. Here comes the Rover. I took the spare wheel, the tools and everything out to lighten it for this, but I don't think I managed to win it. And there's a good hand signal. And here's Dennis's Buick. I think it's Dennis's Buick, not the other one. And I think, okay, now I think that's the T model from, might have been from Lismore, that one, I'm not too sure. And what have we got here now? Oh, there's a Rolls Royce, nearly didn't make the corner. And here comes the Packard. And I think this is Ted Godfrey's Packard, one of the Lismore contingent who came up. And that's what officially the hill is called. It was just a grassy, overgrown tract, but we cleaned it down. That's Howard Kenward coming up there. And School Road. I think School Road's there. I'm going to drive around one day and see. There's probably houses built down there now. I'm not too sure. I don't know who that young child is, but they'll be nearly 50 years old now. That's the Graham. I can't remember the name. And over there's the hall, Springland's Barn. Mr. Porter owned to have a friend of Alf's, and we had the use of that for the previous night's festivities and dance. And it was a very, very successful first Kankanya, the first of 40 or 40 and a half. The 40th was a big one, and the 41st was a Saturday afternoon. A bit disappointing, but 40 great years, and that was the beginning.